Hey, what is up, everybody? Reubin here. My name's Reubin, and welcome back to Interactive Horror Stories. Now, in the last two episodes, we covered the doll and after funeral. Today, we're going to be moving on to the crystal skull and see what it is this story is all about. So, once again, a little bit of a backstory. You're a king who is loved by his people. You have a serious problem, though. Your only child, Juliana, has an incurable disease and she is dying. You hear about a crystal skull which can cure illness and let people have visions. It is brought to your palace from the continent of America, but your man but your man warns you that the skull might be cursed. Will the crystal skull bring health to the princess or doom? So we're gonna jump in and we're gonna find out exactly what the outcome is going to be. So being a king is hard. Being a good king is even harder. You know this well as the role as the sole ruler of a European kingdom in the age when America is discovered. It has been 25 years since you ascended to the throne. Your subjects are content with your rule. Your country is in peace and the people are wealthy, but there is something wrong with your life. Your daughter, Juliana, is ill. She's only 18 years old and she has got an illness that nobody could cure yet. Princess is dying and she's your only child, and heir to the throne as well. Every doctor you could find tried to cure her. You've tried almost everything. You have been informed about a miraculous artifact unearthed in the continent of America. It's a human skull made out of crystal. It amazes the scholars because no method is known to carve up such an excellent shape of a skull out of a crystal. The skull doesn't belong to the world that you know, but an ancient civilization that has been lost. But what amazes the scholars is not just the impossible creation. The skull is told to bring miracles to whom touches it with their bare hands. Some people tell that they saw visions from the future. Some tell that they saw how the human race has originated, and some could tell that the skull can cure illnesses. Those couldn't be cured with the medication available to your era. Naturally, you ordered your best men to bring the miraculous skull to the palace. It's midnight now. You are in Juliana's chamber. She's laying in her bed, holding your hand as you sit by her bed. No candles are lit inside. Full moon enlightens the princess's chamber, shining on her long blonde hair and blue eyes. She is too weak. Her skin is pale. She has under her eyes bags showing her illness. You already suffered the loss of your wife 10 years ago. Now you can't stand seeing your only daughter slowly die. Julian asks you with a soft voice, Father, am I going to die? Eventually, yes, I won't allow that. Okay, so there's no bloody ways I'm just going to straight up tell my kid that's lying in bed, yes, yep, you're going to die. Sorry. You're fucked. I'm here just to say goodbye. No. It's all about, when you're trying to show them some compassion, trying to just be there for them. So no, I'm not going to lie. Then obviously he sent them off hoping that this crystal skull is going to do the job. So no, I won't allow that. She smiles. I know, Father. You are mighty king. I know that you will do the best for your subjects and me. The door of the chamber is knocked on. The servants generally don't disturb the royal family members at night, so it must be something important. Come in. A brunette boy, one of your servants, gets inside the chamber with politeness. He looks at you and says, Your Majesty, the artifact has been brought. You have been waiting for this moment for a long time. Okay, so you kiss Juliana's forehead. Obviously, you want to leave. You want to make sure that she's okay. You want to make sure that she's comfortable. So kiss Juliana's forehead. I will come back. After you kiss Juliana's forehead and say, I will come back, she brings your hand to her pale lips and kiss it. Then you leave Juliana alone in the chamber. At the exit of Juliana's chamber, you see Sir William, one of the knights, those who were appointed with the task of bringing the ancient skull. He's a strong man with black hair and a round beard. He wears gloves and holds a bag. Your Majesty, he says, and kneels before you. Signal him to stand up. Let's go to my study chamber. Sir William follows you as you walk to your study chamber. The chamber is well lit with silver candelabras. All the furniture are classy. It is a king's study room after all. There's only one chair. It is for you. You sit on it. Sir William stands by you and slowly pulls the artifact from his bag. You push the books on the study desk to open space for the artifact. Here it is, he says, and gently puts the crystal skull on the study desk. The skull is truly a masterpiece. If it is crafted by humans, all the details of human skulls are imprinted with care on raw crystal. Lights coming from the candles are refracted inside the crystal, gaining various colors of a rainbow. It's magnificent, but you sense something sinister, something that doesn't belong to our world. So before I touch it, I'm obviously going to ask or try and find out, did anybody else touch the skull? Because the last thing I want to do is hand my dying daughter something that's possibly going to prolong her death and just make it more painful, or something that's going to kill her instantly. So first going to find out if any of the knights touched the skull. Yes, we did touch the skull with our bare hands, and we all had visions. We took glances from our futures. Some of us saw how they will die, some of us saw our grandchildren. He continues, but maybe we shouldn't have touched the skull. The day we were about to leave, a native man came to us. He looked the chief of his tribe. He looked like the chief of the sorry. He looked like the chief of his tribe. He knew little of our language, but he shouted some words that we could understand. Cursed, no touch. So we hadn't touched the skull with our bare hands again. I know that our princess needs to find a cure. I also know that we received reliable information about the magical powers of the skull when it comes to incurable diseases. But, Your Majesty, I've got a very bad feeling about the skull. I believe that the wise decision is to throw the skull to the sea. Okay, now this is the thing of where you want to balance out superstition and where you want to balance out paranormal activity, for example, like a skull that's apparently cursed made from solid crystal. Because one thing that people were ridiculously famous for, especially the turn of the century when this is basically taking place, is they were superstitious. They believed that anything that was a little bit out of the norm was either cursed, evil, bad, would fuck up your life, would fuck up the world, would bring devastation and doom and disparity to all. So is it just a case of that chieftain that was telling us to mind the skull is simply being superstitious and he doesn't actually have an idea about what the fuck it actually is? Or could it be that he's telling the truth? Now, obviously, they're not going to give us that. They would obviously defeat the entire purpose of the story. So I'm sitting with two situations here. One, I can't let my daughter die, so I do obviously take her to and I let her touch the skull. Hopefully, going on the fact that it's just a superstition, that will then cure her. Well, if it's just a superstition, then it's just going to be a skull. Nothing's going to happen. My daughter's going to die in any case. Or it does work, but it's got an adverse effect. It heals her, by all means, yes, but it brings something fucked up along with it. Or do I go with the thing of I listen to my knight, I listen to his advice, and we toss this fucking thing into the sea? I don't want to toss it into the sea because I've got a funny feeling if we do that, it's going to bring a story to the end. But I do also want to see what the story will hold if I actually let my daughter touch this. So I can't let Juliana die. She will touch the skull. The knight says, as you wish, Your Majesty. But if you are going to bring the skull to her, I wish you would wear gloves. Now also that's a situation. Do I not believe in it myself, but I'm willing to let my daughter touch it? You know what? Screw it. Touch it with bare hands. You ignore the knight, touch the skull with your bare hands, and instantly find yourself in a vision. In your vision, you are in the middle of a ritual. There are about 100 naked humans around you, forming a circle whose center is you. They are all prostrating themselves, worshipping you. It's nighttime. The plain area is enlightened with torches and stars. You see a stepped pyramid nearby. It is made of huge stone blocks. You realize that you are the crystal skull. You can't see yourself, but you are completely aware of what you are. These naked people are worshipping you, the crystal skull. Then the vision changes. Now it is not night, morning. Now it is not night, morning. Okay, so I'm guessing it's morning. And it's raining like hell. There is a huge flood, unclothed, red-skinned humans screaming and get drowned because of this disastrous torrent, and you as the skull drift away. There is a huge flood, unclothed, red-skinned humans screaming and get drowned because of the disastrous torrent, and you and the skull drift away. Okay, that sentence was confusing, but you open your eyes and turn back to who you really are, the good king. Sir William looks at you. You know what? There's no point as a king. I don't know if this is my royal advisor. I don't know if he's just simply a knight. I don't know if I've got that much faith in him. But there's no point in me telling him the vision. It's not going to benefit anything. So let's bring the skull to Juliana. You thank Sir William for his service and let him go. You carry the skull to Juliana's chamber. You enter her chamber and see that she hasn't slept yet. She rises up and sits on her bed. She looks at the skull in awe. It looks marvelous and scary, she says. You approach Juliana and let her touch the skull. She holds the skull, rubs her hands around it. Nothing happens. Is something supposed to happen, she asks, then gives the skull back. Then she continues, let's wait for tomorrow morning. Maybe it shows its effect then. So you decide to leave Juliana alone and let her sleep. The skull will be staying in your study chamber. After this tiring day, you go to your chamber. There are no guards at the door. You trust everybody in the palace. You are a loved king. The furnitures are luxurious in this chamber. 2. You take a glance at the reflection in the mirror and examine yourself. You take pride in how you look. You are a middle-aged man, but you still look as handsome as you were young. Your looks are an important factor that makes you a charismatic leader, besides being fair and wise. So let's finally climb into bed and get a good night's rest. So you wear your nightgown and get in your bed. It is for 2 people, but you haven't slept with anyone since your wife passed away. You have a secret that you keep from everyone. Sometimes you hug the second pillow in your bed as if it was someone you love. You do this since your childhood. You've done this since your childhood. Nobody needs to know. It doesn't take long for you to fall asleep. You wake up in the morning, something is wrong. You can't move your arms. No, not only arms. You can't move any part of your body. You are paralyzed. Then suddenly your body starts to move involuntarily. It stands up without your consent. Your feet bring you to the mirror. You see your face in the mirror. You are terrified, but there is a grin on your face. You are no longer in control of your body. You are merely a bystander of what it does. It brings you to the throne room with confident steps. Soldiers salute you, to be expected. As you enter, it sits on the throne and shouts with your voice, "Bring me my daughter." You watch guards accompany Juliana as she comes into your presence. It shouts, "I don't want her to suffer anymore. Kill her." Juliana is shocked. "What? Father, please." She's not the only surprised one in the room. Everybody looks at each other in shock, and it shouts, "You heard your king. Execute her." You try to shout, but your screams are buried inside the head of a king. Juliana gets on her knees and cries in despair, but it's in vain. 2 black masked decapitators come into your presence. One holds the crying blonde girl, the other holds the sword. You can do nothing but watch as your precious daughter gets decapitated. Her head falls down and rolls to the throne. Floor gets filled with her blood. Days pass. It continues to control your body. You mourn for your daughter inside the body that once belonged to yourself. You watch it rule your country with an iron fist. It orders all the churches be burnt and priests to be hung. Of course, your people uprise against the new king. It surpasses the revolt, and with violence. Anyone who stood against the king gets tortured. Eyes are poked, skins are flayed. Soon, it orders people to worship it as a deity. The God King declares war against other countries. It doesn't take long for the other countries to form an alliance against the God King. In a fateful battle in your capital, the God King loses his horse. The evil king gets killed while desperately searching for a horse. And this is how your soul finally breaks free to heaven to see your family once again. The end. So there are 3 possible endings to this story. So, wow. Okay, so touching it, obviously, as I guessed, was not a good thing, but it eliminates the factor of what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was probably going to be superstition, but I'm guessing as this is interactive horror stories, I should have known better. So, quite simply, a crystal skull is either possessed with something or something is trapped within it, and then obviously the bare hands of somebody touching it, you somehow get possessed, but that wouldn't explain why. For example, the knights that also touched it when they first went and got it didn't fall under the same possession and obviously try and kill me or my daughter or anybody else that was on the quest with them. It simply only wanted to possess me for some reason, and that's possibly why when my daughter touched it, nothing happened, because the entity, the demonic presence, the whatever that was within that skull is now within me, and obviously it had taken over, suppressed any consciousness that I had deep down, and I could simply be a witness to it controlling my body. And then obviously you guys heard the rest. We go around and we absolutely fuck up a kingdom that was happy, that was thriving, that was booming with civilization, and then obviously I go and fuck everything up. Well, not me, but the possessed me goes and fucks everything up. So there's 3 possible endings. I'm guessing one of them is where we chuck it into the water and that's about it. That's where the story will end, because nobody touches it and the story will basically cut off there. The second one, I'm guessing, is probably where we don't touch it with our bare hands, but we give it to our daughter and our daughter touches it with her bare hands. And either she gets a vision or she's the one that ends up being possessed. But either way, that was actually pretty interesting. It was better than the previous one. After Funeral was not that good, but it was still creepy in its own right. But this one was actually pretty good. The whole notion of being possessed by something that was brought to you from a foreign country at this era, from a foreign country, people have been warning you that it's cursed, but your love for your daughter is so strong, you just blatantly ignored everybody to try and get her back on her feet. But that's about it. I really do hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. But obviously, until then, cheers.